What's up? Welcome. Another live stream, the last live stream of the year, which I just started kind of randomly doing them this year. So we'll see what happens. If you're watching this, drop questions in the chat and let me know if you got any questions or you want to talk about anything. But today we're going to cover the 2022 kind of year in review, hit some highlights of this year. We're going to talk about maybe what could be coming up in 2023. Is this content going to continue? We'll see. Going to do a top 10 showcase and talk a little bit about that. And then, believe it or not, we're going to do a box break. But I'm not going to spoil what we have because I'll tell you why I got it. So, thanks for joining. Thanks for watching this. If you're watching on the replay, again, if you are watching live, throw a message in the chat. Be happy to answer that. So, 2022, excuse me, in review. The biggest year of wrestling cards that I can remember to date. I don't think it's debatable at this point. We had so much happen. We had AEW kicking things off with their Upper Deck release, the first Upper Deck wrestling cards, and then that kind of rolled into Prism release, which we have talked ad nauseum about that, and then it just kind of stemmed into all these other things, all these other releases, the licenses switching from Panini, and then before even Prism could come out, Fanatics is like, hey, we're buying Tops, and WWE signs a deal with Fanatics, so what's going to happen there? Then we had up and down releases. We had Revolution, which was like a big collector hit, but then Select came out, and Select blew everything like out of the water for most people. And then there was the hobby drama, which I'm not going to talk about all of that. Everybody can collect whatever they want to collect. We've got the Upper Deck AEW stuff coming out late. It should have been out. It's I think 2022, but it's not coming out to the end of 2022. We've got some Chronicles coming out barely making it in at the end of this year. A lot of people big fans of that, but there's a lot of people that are set collectors, or maybe their player they collect is not in that set, so they're not going to collect those. So a lot of stuff happened. Talk a little bit about the content. Again, I started live streams this year. Hopefully, kind of some inspiration from that was Bo Thompson, who does one of these every single morning. Shout out, Bo. If you want to check out a little bit about him and what he does, you can check it out in the archives of this channel. I've done an interview with him talking about his 1 Million Cubs project. In fact, you may have seen him as 1 Million Cubs kind of floating around on Twitter, if you're on Twitter. So I've kind of taken what he did with the live stream and just doing some community involvement with that, get people in the chat. Hopefully the more people find out that I do these, it's just kind of fun banter back and forth. You can ask questions, give opinions, argue, whatever it is. It's just fun to kind of do a community building thing on this channel for free. So what else is going to be coming up in content this year? Well, I kept doing interviews. That was kind of the goal I set for 2022, was to continue to get new interviews of new wrestling card collectors, people within the hobby that maybe wrestling card collectors traditionally did not know about. I wanted to give them a platform to speak about their collections, why they do what they do. Are they a dealer? Do they trade? Whatever. I've just tried to get a variety on here instead of having the same people on over and over again. There's content out there that does that. People provide a great service, but this is my channel, and in my opinion, I wanted to give a variety. I don't want to have the same guests on over and over again unless it's some kind of recurring segment, or unless it's something that same person just happens to continually know about. So continued the market watch videos on here. Those have always been a hit. And then I recently started the top 5, which I'm going to continue that because that got some really good feedback, and hopefully it can kind of help collectors find the, I guess, zooming in on specific wrestlers and maybe some cards they didn't know existed. Maybe they want to go get it. Maybe they have differing opinions than me, and that's okay. I'm not here to say I'm the expert, the king, the end-all, be-all. I just like to talk about wrestling cards and give it a platform to kind of expand the hobby and get more people into it. The podcast, that's been up and down. The Wrestling with Cards podcast has been up and down this year. I was at the first of the year, I believe I've had really consistent releases. And then throughout the year, I just basically stopped. And to be completely transparent, the reason I stopped is because Anchor, for some reason, pulled my ads. So I was not getting paid. And I've talked about it before, other than I enjoy doing this content, but it comes to a point where if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. So I was like, hey, I'm just going to push the podcast aside. I enjoy doing it, but if I'm not getting paid for it, what's the point in continuing? So put that on the back burner. Well, then they brought the ads back. So then I started putting them out, but I don't have the time to be putting them out, they are more short form audio anyway. And I prioritize the video right here on YouTube. YouTube is the main hub for my content. And then the Worlds Collide podcast is also a higher priority than the Worlds Collide podcast. But I like to keep doing it because I like to create content. Again, if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense, right? We're not monetized on here yet, but I just like creating this stuff. 1 second. It's time to drink some coffee. Which, thanks to a few of you out there, I've actually had some coffee donations, so thanks for that. But I love creating content. It's this fun creative outlet I've always talked about. I think it's a hobby hack. The more you put yourself out there, and it doesn't have to be video or podcast. It could be a written word. It could just be social media. But the more you're putting yourself out there and, hey, this is what I collect. There's information about this set, whatever it is, that it's just putting yourself out there to open yourself up to more deals, whether it's buying, selling, trading, whether it's the person finding out that, hey, you're the super collector of this person, you want that card. That content creation of any form is the hobby hack. And again, it's the creative outlet for me. I love editing, even when I don't want to do it. It's like sorting cards. A lot of people hate sorting cards. I love sorting cards, even though it's a monotonous, project to do. Same thing with editing. It takes forever. If you want a 30-minute video on this channel, it may take me 3-4 hours to edit that down and put the fun video clips in there and the images so you can see the cards I'm talking about. It is very time consuming. So we're going to continue on YouTube, though. No matter what, we're continuing on YouTube. In fact, I'm only around like 50 subscribers from that 1,000 milestone. I think that we're getting ready to kick off. I think this is my 3rd or 4th year in 2023 doing this. It's taken a long time, but I also understand that wrestling cards are super niche, and we're not going to build the audience. But any audience, anybody that wants to come in here and watch this stuff, whether it's now or whether they're finding old videos from a year or two ago, or whether it's 10 years from now and they're going to go back and find these videos, anything that would assist in wrestling cards and helping collectors out is all that matters. So I'm going to continue to put the videos out. The podcast, I'm going to try to get back on. The holidays are over, which I hope you guys had a great Christmas and Thanksgiving and Halloween. Those all kind of just run together for me. It's all a big fun holiday season. So I hope you had a great one. And we're going to, we're getting ready to start a new year. So as we start a new year, everybody wants to make New Year's resolutions. One of my resolutions is to just kind of somewhat keep the podcasts going. And I have kind of fallen into, for the Wrestling with Cards, a every other week release schedule. It's available if you haven't checked it out. It's in the show notes of this video, but you can also find it on any popular podcast platform. Just search Wrestling with Cards podcast. You should be able to find it. And I'm going to try to do a short form audio every other week. And again, I'm going to try to keep that content exclusive to the podcast. I'm not going to duplicate a lot of the videos into audio form. I know some people have requested that, but I am trying to build audiences. So I don't want to be posting both things, both places. Go check out the YouTube channel. Go check out the podcast. Speaking of podcasts, let's touch on the Worlds Collide podcast. It just keeps growing. Everybody loves this. We've gotten a lot of compliments about the job that me and Tony are doing on the Worlds Collide Wrestling Card podcast. Again, links in the show notes if you want to check that out, or you can just find it wherever you listen to podcasts. But Tony's just opened a new store, as we've talked about, the Wrestling Guy Store Phoenix. If you're in the Phoenix area, or he's working on getting a lot of this stuff online, make sure to check it out and support small business, content creators as well. Support all that stuff. So Tony has established that he's maybe not going to have as much time. And I can tell you from a scheduling perspective, it has been a lot harder to do the Worlds Collide podcast. We have to record in batch. So we have to pick a day or an evening when both of us have time. And we have to record like a month's worth of episodes. So that's why if you listen to it, sometimes the audio might be a little bit dated, or we may have just talked about a new release that we're like or don't like, but actually that release was like 3 weeks ago. That's why. We just try to get stuff out as much as possible and to help out the collectors. So thanks for sticking with us on that. But I don't think we've missed a week yet on that show. I think we've just kept kicking them out. So we're going to keep doing that as of now. We may miss a week here and there, but there is, as of now, there's no plans on stopping that podcast. So thank you for your support thus far, and hopefully that will continue. Talk about Patreon for a minute. Thank you to everybody that's on the Wrestling with Cards Patreon. If you're unfamiliar, you can check the links in the show notes to join my Patreon at any level. I appreciate anything from $1, which, I joke about the dollar donations, buy me a coffee, but actually it does help. And I was actually able to buy some merch, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But Patreon's been a huge help. And there are exclusive videos I've been working on, and they're only going to be available to patron members, any level, whether it's $1, whether it's $10. There are extra perks you can check out there. Links in the show notes again to go check that out. But I do want to say to the patrons out there that are watching this, you know the project that I've been working on, and it's just slow. Again, I just talked about earlier the editing issues and how editing takes so long to do, to condense, all like 6 hours of work into like a 15-20 minute video. And I just don't think people understand. But also, like, I didn't promise these things to come out at any time. I'm trying to get one out a month. I'm still going to try to stick to that, especially in 2023. Kind of another resolution, so to speak, is these special projects that I have going on Patreon only. I want to try to get those out in a more consistent basis for those people who are patrons that are paying to support what I do. And since we're not generating any revenue, again, this keeps going back to money. And it's not all about money. I love creating content. I love wrestling cards. I love talking to people on Twitter, Instagram, or whatever it is about wrestling cards. And I don't get paid for any of that. But again, me and Tony have talked about it. It comes to a point where the time we're putting into this, we need to be compensated for it. That's what patrons are doing, is helping me continue for equipment or, merch, which again, I'll talk about that in just a second. So that's why I continue to talk about like money involved with content creation. That's not the end all be all, but like I said, it does get to a point where we've got to really start considering that. Let's go ahead and talk about the merch. I did mention that twice. So this year we also came out with the first ever Wrestling with Cards t-shirt, black metal inspired, with the slogan "True Wrestling Card Collector." If you know, you know, on the black metal front where that came from. But we made some shirts that had a lot of problems. Tried to go with a small business, and it worked. The shirts are great quality. For those of you who do have shirts, that ordered shirts, I got great reviews. The quality, the sizes fit right. It wasn't like, crooked. The printing wasn't, everything was excellent. The problem is we had some people that, number one, ordered shirts, and there was a problem with the company and the machine that pressed the shirts. Again, I tried to go with a small business and had a lot of problems. So a lot of the people did not end up getting the shirts, unfortunately. So moving on to that, I was like, well, let's try something else. Let's do wrestling cards. Everybody likes cards. And then I started seeing, well, these people are creating their own cards, whether it's relic cards, autograph cards, indie card sets, bootleg, like whatever you want to call that stuff. So I was like, hey, I'm going to create a relic card of my own. Found Tanman, I think it's Tanman Baseball on Twitter. Great guy. Sorry for not getting that Twitter handle exactly right, but you can go back and find the retweets that I've talked about that. And we did make a relic card. Everybody loves gold. Everybody loves the 2014 design of Topps Chrome with gold. So that's kind of what that was modeled after. It turned out excellent. Nice autograph space. And the relic was actually from a t-shirt that I've wore at several of my videos, which you can go back and check out in the archives. It's the Bam Bam Terry Gordy t-shirt. And between the shirts and the cards, it just didn't really take off. And that's okay. I see, like, maybe the shirt thing was kind of a fiasco anyways. In fact, I do have one. So if you're watching this, I do have a size large. If you were interested, it's new and sealed. It's actually up there. I should have grabbed it before I came on. But I do have one shirt left if you would like one of those shirts. Again, it's just got Wrestling with Cards logo on the front, and on the back it says True Wrestling Card Collector, size large, black in color. If you want that, let me know. I do have several of the cards left too, but it just seems like the people weren't that interested in that. I don't know if it is wrestling card collectors maybe wanting more to actually buy cards like blasters and slabs and grading, and totally understand that. I was just trying to do just some merch ideas to spread the word about the content, of course, but then also to give the people who like these videos or like the podcast like a piece of the podcast, if that makes sense. So going forward, I don't know about merch. I did have people request it too, but the numbers, again, it didn't make sense because people wanted this stuff and then nobody bought it, or they just didn't show any interest. So they'd rather, I guess, people rather argue on social media than support the content. But hey, that's okay. Moving on, and I should have said this at the first of the show. The major eBay announcement. So I talk about my eBay store a lot. 2022, when we started the year, I set a goal that I wanted to have 10,000 active listings. Now, eBay isn't all about listings. you're there to sell cards. You're there or whatever it is you're selling. So I was like, but the thing is, you get more listings. It's this weird algorithm that eBay uses where the more you list, the more you sell. The more you accept offers, the more you sell. It's a really weird dynamic. But as I start going throughout the year, I just start listing more and more and more. I start enjoying the listing process. Again, it's something that's a mundane thing that a lot of people don't like, and I actually find it fun and entertaining. I throw on a podcast, throw on some music, get the listing. It becomes kind of a mindless activity once you get in the hang of it. But I just love doing it. So we way surpassed that 10,000 mark. In fact, I think we're right around 12,500 listings at the time of this recording. And again, it's the idea of eBay is not to, hey, I want the most listings possible. It's the more you list, it's these weird goals that you can set for yourself personally. But then those goals and those listings again tie back into the algorithm. So I'm going to try to max out my listings as much as possible. So my goal, and I don't know, it may be a little bit lofty. My goal for 2023 is to get to let me figure this out. Let me do some math. 25,000 listings. That's what I want to hit. Like I said, I'm at 12.5 right now. So I essentially want to double the listings I have now this time next year. We'll see if it happens. But for those of you watching, this is the first time you're going to announce that you're getting word of this. I'm not going to talk about it until it happens. But because I met my goals and because I want to make it harder on myself and I want to try to hit those 2023 goals, I like to push myself as far as I can to meet goals and get things done. I'm going to have a flash sale on New Year's Day. So for 12 hours, I'm going to schedule it from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on my eBay store, 50% off every single thing in the store when you buy 15 items or more, free shipping on everything. We've got wrestling cards. I just posted a bunch of blasters from like 2020 and 2021 Chrome. There's slabbed cards in there. There's a whole lot of stuff. It's going to give a lot of people who got those eBay cards for Christmas a good opportunity to get the most bang for their buck. And it's going to give me an opportunity to clear out inventory so I can put more. I've really loved this eBay process. Probably one of the few, but I've been buying tons of bulk, tons of collections, and I just put them to the side. I get to them when I can, and I love it. I just love the process, and I want to scale this up more and more and more and more until eventually I can do this as just full-time, create content, sell cards. And I know it's possible because people have been doing it for years. People have been selling cards of any kind and doing content and making a living doing that for years. So that's my goal. I don't know when that's going to happen, but again, that's the ultimate goal. So again, New Year's Day, January 1st, 2023, Beast Mode Collectibles, link in the show notes to the eBay store. 50% off every single thing in the store for 12 hours when you buy 15 items or more. Free shipping on everything. So that's kind of the goals. PC goals. Let's talk about that real quick before I switch. Not much is changing. Carrying Cross, Super Collecting, that's going to continue to go forward, especially with the Panini release. Chronicles, at the end of this year, actually in just like 3 days, I think Chronicles is officially released. We've got Cross cards in there, and I'm super excited. Thanks for everybody that's watching right now. If you have a question or a comment, leave it in the chat. I can cover it while we're watching it. So appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for stopping by, even if it's for a few minutes. But Carrying Cross going to continue. I don't care what anybody says. Like I get flack all the time about this guy's not a good investment. How can you collect somebody that's not over? Why don't you just collect Roman? And I'm like, I don't care. Like this is the guy I've been a fan of for a while. I'm too deep into it now to quit. I've got some of his best cards. I love them. We'll talk about those in just a minute as we talk about the top 10 showcase. But that's going to continue. All-Stars, that's going to continue. 82, 83. I'm continuing to track down signed versions. I would say I probably have about a third of the full 82 and 83 both combined. I probably have about a third of those done at this point, and I'm just going to continue to get those done, upgrade those copies when I can. The ECW project, that's also continuing. I've been trying to get one autograph card, and I'm trying to avoid stickers, but I'm trying to get one autograph card of every talent that ever appeared in ECW, whether it was for one match, whether it was an announcer, a referee, doesn't matter. One autograph for every talent that appeared in ECW. And man, is that a fun way to piece together stuff, because you can get custom cards. You can get, I've been looking at some 8x10s that are autographed and authenticated. So then maybe I could send them over to Tanner again, who made my relic card for Wrestling with Cards. and have a custom autograph card to fit that ECW project. I talk about all the time. It's just really fun to like put together these projects and connect the dots of things that had an impact to you and nostalgia and whatever it is the way that you collect. So those are the three, cross all stars ECW project. I will dabble possibly from other things. For some reason, I've been like really wanting some like vintage baseball or vintage basketball or football cards, and not to buy and sell or flip or whatever, but they just look like cool cards. And I think there's always going to be a buyer for that stuff. So if I needed to move it to get an all stars card or something like that, I could. But again, the three things I talked about are the priorities, and then anything else that falls under that, it is what it is. I've talked about picking up singles here and there. I'm not gonna go start this set and go start this set and then go do this. I might start kind of like side PCs here and there that maybe is just a handful of cards, but I'm not going to put so much money into that stuff that it distracts my focus from the All Stars, from Cross, from ECW. And I think that's what a lot of people run into. They have a problem. Oh, Squirrel. Oh, we got to go here. Oh, there's a new Panini release. We got to go here. And they also often wonder, I've talked about this before, so it's kind of a broken record, but I feel like I need to keep talking about it. People wonder why they can't get their Grail cards or these big cards that they see. Oh, it's, out of my price range. Stay focused. Like I say, block out the noise on social media and in life, really, and focus on what you want to do. Same thing with cards. Like, who is it you collect? Are you a super collector? Are you a set collector? Are you trying to put together certain autograph cards? Like, it doesn't matter within that whole realm. Focus on what you're doing and use the equity that you built up in all of your, whether it's base cards or autographs. Like, find the stuff that doesn't mean as much to you, sell that, trade it, and then dump that money back into the stuff that you really are focused on. That's another thing we saw in 2022 is people changing directions with their PC. Some people were railing them for it, being like, why would you sell it at this price? You're an idiot. You don't understand supply and demand. You don't understand money. And I'm just like, maybe, maybe not. But hey, this is what they're wanting to collect. This is the lane they're changing. I understand that. I've changed so many times until I've kind of narrowed in on these three main things that I'm doing that I get that perspective. But every single time, even going back, way back when I was collecting wrestling figures or vinyl or whatever, I've always rolled any equity that I've had in those collections and then moved it into the next collection so that I don't have to spend so much life money, if at all. I try not to spend any life money on cards, but also it kind of gives you the more money to play with, so to speak. So if you find that card, it's $500, $1,000, $2,000, you've got the money to go buy that card instead of sitting on the sidelines and being like, well, I've got all these cards and I like them, but I can't get the card that I really want. So, just kind of focusing on those three. I've got off topic a little bit, but that's okay. Still, once again, rounding that out. PC focus for 2023. Cross cards, trying to get all those, duplicates, whatever. And I met some other cross collectors out there, and I was able to send them some of my duplicates because, guys, that's how we keep the hobby going, is sharing the stuff we don't need. All Stars, like I said, ECW project, like I said, still working on it. There's a lot of cool ECW autos out there, and there's a lot of stuff I've been getting that I didn't expect to ever be able to surface. So that's cool. That's pretty much it. So let's move into the top 10 showcase. So the reason that I wanted to do this is because I've seen a lot of people doing showcases lately. Top 10 this, top 10 that. Let's show, getting these group collectors. Shout out Drake Magruder for hosting the wrestling card showcase with multiple collectors. That thing was like a marathon. I thought it was cool. Unfortunately, I was not able to jump on. And there's actually a couple of other content things that I've been asked to be a part of. Unfortunately, due to my schedule, due to the holidays, and just all kinds of stuff, I was not able to make those. So I apologize for not doing more content on other people's platforms. Just scheduling didn't go together. It's like I said earlier with content. And scheduling things is very, very hard. So I was like, I'm going to do this live stream. I can do a showcase. So this is going to be my top 10 cards, period. This isn't top 10 carrying cross cards, top 10 all-stars. This is just top 10 cards in my collection, and it's not the most valuable. It's not the most sought after. It's my favorite 10 cards, like what they mean to me, the connection I have, and I'll explain each one as we go through it. And I hope it inspires you watching this to, you could do this on social media if you want, but just kind of look at your collection and kind of, because it was very hard to pin down to just 10. In fact, on one of these I cheated, and I'll talk about it. They're not in any particular order. They're just the 10 most important cards to me. So we're going to start that in just 1 second. All right. So here's where I cheated. Again, not in any order, but we're going to start off with number 10. And it's my showcase, so I kind of fudged this a little bit. I have two cards that tied, and there's a tie-in between those for the tie, pun intended. So we're going to start with the 88 Wonderama. This is card number 126. Lex Luger. This is what many people consider his rookie card. Sure, whatever. But that robe, the robe era, Lex Luger, and I'm sorry my camera's not picking this up very well. But, these cards aren't that great of quality anyway, so the image is a little bit harder to see. But the robe era Lex Luger in the 80s had one of the greatest wrestling entrance themes ever put out. And you may notice, okay, so we've got the Lex Luger in blue, right? What is this red? It says Bills Mafia because Lex Luger is a huge Buffalo Bills fan, as am I. Shout out to all the Bills Mafia members out there. And I thought this was really cool. This was signed by Marcus Percal. And shout out Marcus for helping me get this done. And this was done at WrestleCade just a month ago, I guess. And I wanted the red and blue to match the Buffalo Bills team colors. And we've got the white. So it had the red, white, and blue. Ties together my love of the Bills and love of football, the love of Lex Luger and this era that he had and this entrance theme. So gotta love that. Tying it together, Buffalo Bills. Marshawn Lynch. So this is, as you can see, it's an L. And this is Rookie Threads Letterman. So I was able to put together the whole last name Lynch out of these cards. And this one is specifically numbered. What's the number on this? This one's numbered to 250. I've got some that are lower number, but I really don't care because it's a cool rookie auto patch off the name used on the back of the jersey. Putting together the full name, it took me a couple of years to find them all, but love the Bills. Marshawn Lynch was my first running back on my first ever fantasy football team in his rookie season. I took over an orphan team. I've talked about that before. And seeing Marshawn Lynch on my team, I was like, man, I'm just rejuvenated. So I don't have a lot of Marshawn Lynch stuff, and that's what I talk about. Like, I have those three main focuses of the PC, but I had to have something Marshawn Lynch. So to be able to put together the full last name of these letter autographed signed plate thing, that they're cut off the back of the jersey. They're not plates. I keep saying that for some reason. So that would be my tie for number 10. Number 9, again, no order, no value. This is, what's the year on this? 2010 TriStar TNA New Jack Auto. Sorry about the lighting, trying to get that accurate. I hate sticker autos. I've talked about how much I hate sticker autos, but this is, to my knowledge, the only official pack-pulled certified autograph of New Jack that ever came out. So I love that it has, if you can see right here, there's some gold, or not gold, there's some green, like sparkly, shiny stuff with all the red. It's a Christmas card. Yeah, tie in with Christmas. You got to love that. New Jack, my favorite ECW wrestler of all time. He really doesn't have that many cards. So to find this, it took me 2 years to finally be able to snag one of these on eBay. I just hit the bin. And because sometimes you got to do that. If you see the card that's that rare, just hit the bin, worry about it later. Well, don't put yourself in debt doing that. But I figured out a way to get this done. And there are different versions of this. This is a green, and the green is numbered. What's the number on this? The green's numbered to 25. There are different versions of this out there, but there's just not a lot of New Jack autos. And there's another one I have that I got from him personally. I like that one as far as the card and the image better than this one, but this is the only certified pack pull one that he ever had. So that's why I had to throw that in there. It's going to take a lot to pry that out of my collection. This one's no surprise. So 82 All-Stars. Yeah, sure. PSA 2, Authentic Auto, whatever. This represents one of my favorite sets, if not my favorite set in wrestling cards. And the story behind this card specifically. So I bought the whole base set from Matt Cardona, GCW World Heavyweight Deathmatch star Matt Cardona. I bought this whole set from him. And so that's kind of a cool story in itself, right? But then the fact that I had to sweat this, sending it to the beach shop because I wasn't going to fly or drive down there for it, and getting this signed and waiting, hoping that it came back. And then once I got that in hand, sending it to PSA. So from Matt Cardona to me, from me to Hogan, from Hogan back to me, from me to PSA, and then back right here in front of you today. This is a representation of the whole set and just a cool story that is kind of told for this card. And again, this is the only version I had. I had duplicates of this that were unsigned. I sold them. I don't need duplicates. I'm trying to put together the whole set. I'd rather take those duplicates, sell that, take that money, put it back into more autographed versions. And Again, if it's a 2 or it's a 10, I don't care. I'm building out the set. So yes, it's Hogan. Yes, it's like the 52 mantle of wrestling. But for me, this is a representation of the entire set and the interesting story that this specific card has behind it. Eric Foster in the chat, thanks for jumping in. Does the grade matter to you when it comes to your PC? No, absolutely not. And in fact, like we're going to talk about that later in some of these other cards that I have. If you're looking at it from an investment standpoint, it's probably something to keep an eye on. But like if you go look at some of the iconic sports cards, 52 Mantle, the 86 Fleer Jordan, some of that kind of stuff, like even in low grades, like 1s and 2s, they're still valuable. They're still sought after. So it really depends. Like if it's a PC card, no, I don't care. In fact, we'll get to this, Eric. We'll get to this in 1 second because I have a couple of PC. Well, I have one PC card that I'm never going to grade. Period. So I don't even care about the grade because I'm not going to grade it. My Carrying Cross collection. It's all in binders. Like I'm not. Well, there's a few slabs, but I'm not grading any of it because I just don't care. Like I don't care because it's my collection. It's my super collection. I'm not planning on selling it anytime soon. Now, again, if you're looking at commodity cards, you're trying to make money off this, yes, you probably need to take the grade into perspective. And as always, okay, so on this Hogan, right, we all want higher grades, of course. We want 8s, 9s, 10s. There's no 10s out there right now, that card actually. But we all want the higher grades, but we also have to, I think, take into consideration what you can afford. So would you rather have a Hogan PSA 2 that's signed in your collection for, I don't know, let's just say this is a $2,000 card, maybe $1,000, I don't know. Would you rather have that, or would you rather try to hold out for that 8, that 9, that 10, and maybe you never get that, but maybe you could have this one at an affordable price, and then the money that you would have sunk into the higher graded ones, you can go out and buy more cards with that, buy more autographed All-Stars if that's what you like, or buy different things. Like I'd rather be able to fill out the PC stuff that I'm working on than try to save up for that one big thing. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. That's just my opinion. So PC stuff, do whatever you want, grade with whoever you want. It doesn't matter. If you're looking for an investment or you're trying to flip stuff or make money, definitely I would stick with PSA, to be honest, and I would shoot for the highest grade possible of all that stuff. So speaking of, PC stuff, my favorite card in my entire collection, Hulk Hogan Precious Metal Gems, BGS 9. When I saw this card, I hit the bin, had to have it a couple years ago. I talk about this card ad nauseum, so people are probably getting tired of hearing about it. 2013, this is an Upper Deck employee exclusive, only issued to employees, numbered to 125. But hey, go check on eBay, go check on Golden, go check on all these places. Try to find 120, try to find one of these. They're very hard to find. A lot of people hate this image. I agree. Not the best image. However, what this represents, this is a prime example of the name and the set, not necessarily the card. So again, like a lot of people don't like the image, that's fine. A lot of people don't like pink or purple. Get into that in a minute because I might be starting a new PC after I was talking about not venturing off into other things. But the PMGs, we're getting ready to see this with AEW. AEW Metal Universe is going to be coming out. I'm really looking forward to that product. And I might as well just go ahead and say it. If I can find any talent of these pink and purple PMGs that they're going to have in AEW, guys, I'm not even the biggest AEW fan, and I'm going to try to get those because I got the Hogan, it started it, right? Then I got the Batista, who is Drax in the Marvel Metal Universe in the same color PMG. So why not try to get all these other things? It's going to be fun to kind of track down some of those. But very important card because of what PMGs are. I understand if you don't like the image and you may hate this card, and it's not for everybody. I understand that. But this is becoming one of the top Hulk Hogan cards. 82 All-Stars still, one of the cream of the crop. The 81 Popey, that's still up there. That's really gained collector base. And there's some others, 85 Tops, 85 OPG, Scanlons. There's others out there, but this one is starting to gain popularity. I've turned down so many offers for this card because it's my favorite card. I don't want to sell it. I'm not going to sell it until I have an emergency or, get an offer I can't turn down. But when I saw this, and I know the history of PMGs in basketball and kind of how that translated to some football and baseball, Marvel, and it's just kind of, it keeps going and going. PMGs, the set of PMGs and the rarity of them is just amazing. So this one's really important, and I don't know that it's worth that much. I've talked about it a little bit before. This is card number 38 from 87 Tops. This is the only wrestling card that has survived my childhood through every single wrestling collection or any collection. I've collected figures, I've collected vinyl, I've collected video games, I've collected sports cards, comic books, you name it. Every single time I kind of quit collecting something, I roll that into the next collection, as I spoke about. This specific card is the only thing that's ever survived since my childhood for every single collection I've ever had. It's beat up, it's creased, but I'm so happy to have this. And again, this was sent to the beach shop with the 82 All Stars Hogan to get signed. I love the gold that he used. I had no request, I just wanted it signed. So the gold on there, I need to get this sent to PSA. That's again one of the last things that will ever leave my collection. Moving on, we just finished Christmas. I've got a couple of Christmas cards for you that you may have seen on my social platforms, but this is the is it 89 Tops? I can't remember 89 or 90 Tops design. I'm really bad at that, but this is the Clark W. Griswold auto card from BGS Authenticated. It's a custom card. I saw it though. I love Christmas so much. It's by far my favorite Christmas movie ever. As you can see, Turbo Man in the background. I love Jingle All the Way too, but Christmas Vacation, by far the greatest Christmas movie ever. Clark Biswell approves. Thank you. Thank you for that. Here's an odd one for you. So I talk about Christmas. Let's tie in some more Christmas. This ties in, before I show you the card, this ties in with a Christmas special I've loved from childhood. This ties in with my first trip to the Magic Kingdom in Florida last year, right around Christmas time, and my love for cards, my love for rare and scarce. A little bit of storytelling behind this, but this is the 2012 Disney Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. This is Huey, Dewey, and Louie building the Snow Fort Barricade. Now, let me tell you about these cards a little bit. This is actually a game, Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. You go to Magic Kingdom, for those of you who are unaware, you would get packs of these cards in the park, and then you would go around the park and play the game with these cards. So you would defeat monsters and scan the cards. I don't know how it works, but it went on for years. So they've discontinued the game, so they're not making these anymore. And I remember seeing this on Probstein on eBay, and I was like, I got to have it. And I actually got this for less than what it would cost to actually grade the card. So the reason this has such significance to me, again, my love of Christmas. Yeah, DuckTales. Yeah, absolutely. But this isn't I love DuckTales, especially the DuckTales NES game. Who remembers that? But this is my tie-in with the Christmas special where Huey, Dewey, and Louie battle Uncle Donald. I don't know the name of it, but you can go find it on YouTube. There's a big snow fight. They build this big, it's like this big battleship out of snow and ice, and they're fighting each other. It's just such a Christmas classic to me. So that's my tie with Christmas. Cool looking card, of course. And then down here, this is Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. So not only is this discontinued, this was in the park, this was used to play a game, but this card on these Mickey Christmas parties were only available for the people who tuned in and went to these special Christmas parties at the Magic Kingdom. They were only given to the people who were there. So that adds another level of rarity on it. I'm not a big grading stickler. I just got through talking about that, but the fact that I could get this in a 9 for what it would cost to just grade the card, for a card that was in someone's hand playing the game at the park. So it's just it ties everything together to me. Christmas, my love of Magic Kingdom. I'm actually not that big of a Disney fan. Christmas Disney is okay. I don't like a lot of Disney movies, but the Disney parks, I'm all about it. Massive. In fact, I'm wearing the Haunted Mansion shirt right now. So love Magic Kingdom. I love Disney. Christmas. I love Christmas, and I love cards. So this ties all of that together. Eric Foster, back to your question on PC and grading. Here's my next card that will never be graded. Topps Transcendent Superfractor 1/1 Carrying Cross, my favorite Carrying Cross card in the collection. It still has the Transcendent seal on it. Never going to grade this, never going to crack it out, and I will not get rid of it until for some reason I decide I'm not going to collect Cross anymore, and then it'll go off to another, but I just don't see that happening. Story behind this card is from Dan Wynn, the great curator. You guys may have seen Dan kind of, I don't want to say hobby headlines lately, but there's been a lot of negativity, people accusing him of pumping and dumping Marvel and all the stuff that he's into. I actually got this card from him through a trade he made at the Dallas Card Show. So this came from the Dallas Card Show because I had reached out to the seller who had this on eBay, had it at a very high price, which now that I look back at the price that he was asking, it was probably a fair price. But for this one specifically, I just wasn't really willing to pay what he wanted at that time. So Dan's a great guy. Dan knew I wanted this card. He held on to the card. He made a trade, held on to the card for me until I would just paid him cash for whatever he was asking because unfortunately, sometimes on these one of ones, you got to pay the piper. So I was able to, sell enough stuff, liquidate stuff enough on eBay, and buy this card from him. Again, we talked about this on the archives of this channel after this live stream is done. If you want to go watch it, you can. I talked with Dan about how I was able to obtain this card and everything that went into it. So, Clark Biswell back again. Super refractor looks like Carrion is about to take out a legion of opponents. Exactly. That's exactly why I love his character. The intensity. Do you see that look right there? That's how I feel every single time I get up. Whether I'm got to work the shoot job, brother, whether I'm working on eBay, whether I'm going to go actually physically work out, whether I'm doing content, no matter what it is, this face, that intensity is pretty much how I feel every single day I get up. No complaints, no excuses, get up and do it. And that's another reason I like Karrion Kross so much. His intensity, his character, it's menacing. And I just love it. So that's just another, connection I have with Karrion Kross with this showcase. Interesting story behind this one. 98 Comic Images, Rock Auto. So look at this. This is as much Attitude Era as you could possibly imagine. The Raw's War background banner. Like, why does WWE not do banners anymore? The banners were the best. You'd see Survivor Series or Superstars or just a WWF logo in the backgrounds of these TV tapings. They were fantastic. So, interesting story about this. I love SGC slabs. I know they're not the most valuable as far as like resale, but they're my favorite slabs on the market today. This is a 10 auto with a 7 grade. So, the story behind this one, I got to the point I always wanted this card. I love the Rock, but I'm not like a Rock super. I've got a pretty good collection, but it just is kind of by happenstance. Like, I just kept seeing these Rock cards out there. I was like, oh, that's a good buy. I'll pick it up. I got this in a collection. I found this. I might as well grade that kind of thing. So I have a whole bunch of Rock cards. This is my favorite one, and this represents something I learned. Hold on, we'll stop 1 second. Clark Biswell in the chat, the Rock card is a grail for many. Yeah, absolutely it is. And it is for me, but kind of in a different way, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Eric Foster in the chat, he's been loving the CSG. Hey, one thing I'll say about CSG, they have been like knocking it out of the park with wrestling cards because there's so many wrestling cards out there that need to be graded. They need to be slabbed, authenticated. And there's these companies out there, even though shout out to Tony, Chuckster, Paul, Armand, everybody working at the WrestlingTradingCards.com website that is putting these checklists out for these grading companies. It's right there, and they still will refuse to grade some of these things. So CSG comes in like, hey, we'll find out the resources we need to authenticate these cards. And I don't think they're doing. Are they doing? Help me out in the chat. Are they doing authentic autograph authentication? I don't think they are. I think they're just doing the actual card grading. But they're getting the pop report built out for those set collectors, especially the indie cards. Not a big indie card guy. I've talked about my kind of love and hate with indie cards in that community. But it doesn't matter what I think because those indie cards are important. They need to be graded. They need to be out there. And if PSA and SGC and BGS and whoever else is out there isn't going to do it, CSG steps up to the plate. CSG has the clearest plastic of any graded slab that I've ever seen. I did have some. I had a Gary V. Allen and Ginter. I actually had somebody that wanted to buy it, so I ended up selling that one. But back to this card. Clark Biswell back in the chat. CSG is my personal favorite. Their customer service is amazing. I've heard that also. And, don't let, I love SGC. There's a lot of people out there that say, you're an idiot. You should only stick with PSA. Oh, well, guys, I've also got Beckett grading slabs. I got another SGC slab we'll get to in just a second. I don't care. These are the 3 main companies I like to stick with. They are all reputable. Not everything is going to be 100% all the time. That's just facts. But yeah, shout out to CSG Grading for helping the wrestling card community. Clark Bizzle back in the chat. SGC and PSA gets all my vintage music cards. Absolutely. Yeah, those are PSA and SGC are like the top tier for just grading in general. But again, we'll go back to CSG. The fact that they're putting that much effort into wrestling cards and their social media of wrestling cards, gotta love it. So back to this Rock card. I can get off. Chat distracts me. Keep it going though. It's fun. It's fun to chat. All right. So the reason this card is so important to me, I know it's a grail card for many. It is a cool card. The auto got a 10, but full transparency. I don't know that you can see it. I know my camera is not very good, but I don't think that card. I don't think that autograph's a 10. It's silver Sharpie, and if you really, really look at it, it looks good, but there's a little bit of streakiness. So if I was grading this, I would not have given it a 10, and I probably shouldn't say that because I'm not protecting my investments. But screw that. I don't care. All right, so the reason this is so important, somebody on social media, on Instagram, in fact, reached out to me like, hey, I don't collect wrestling. I have this. And I've heard from several people you've been trying to track down this card. Absolutely, I am. We negotiated back and forth. We got a price. And I said, okay, do you want trade? He's like, yeah, sure. I'm a sports card dealer. Take note, wrestling fans, sports card dealers willing to work with you. He's like, I'm a sports card dealer. This isn't something that I'm piecing. I don't do wrestling. Let's work something out. So I've been looking for one of these cards forever. And I was at the point where I said, and this hasn't happened yet, so I'm not trying to scare anybody off that if you want one of these, they're still out there. I was afraid that the prices on these were going to run too much. And they were right around, I think with trade and cash total, this ended up being about $1,500 to $1,700 total, like with the value and everything. We'll get to that in a minute. But I was afraid that, I didn't know the market was going to crash. And it really hasn't crashed that much on this card. This card has been pretty stable. Not that I guess that even matters, but I'm just using it as an example that I was afraid this was going to be a $3,000, a $4,000, a $5,000. And it may be eventually because The Rock's one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. But I was like, if I don't get this now, I'm not going to get it. So we started talking. And I came up, now get ready for this. I gave $1,000 cash, a PSA 5 or 6 Jordan, was it? Oh my gosh, why can't I remember the insert? I want to say Beam Team, but it's not Beam Team. Wow, I can't even remember the insert. It's one of his most popular inserts. Help me out in the chat if you can think of it, and I may have even talked about it. But then I traded some Harry Potter. I got some Harry Potter in a collection that I bought out, and not a Harry Potter collector, but I graded some of the stickers, and they got some decent grades. So I sent that out there. Scoring Kings, that's what that is. Michael Jordan Scoring Kings, the first insert, and that a lot of people like. I don't know why that just came to me, but I traded the Harry Potter, the Scoring Kings. I want to say there was a John Cena card in there. Yes, in fact, a sports card dealer understands the importance of John Cena within cards, even though, and is willing to deal with them, even though a lot of wrestling card purists just don't understand trading and don't want to deal. But that's how I was able to get this. And that was kind of the connection I have with this card is kind of trust my gut. Go after whether I'm overpaying. If there's something I want, going out there and getting it, making the moves to make it happen, liquidating stuff that doesn't fit the PC. Taking a little bit less than comps, like paying more for comps, like all of that stuff tied together came into play when I wanted to get this card. So that's what it is, a grail card for a lot of people. I understand that, but all of that kind of stuff is the connection that I have with this card. Last card on the showcase, and then we are going to open some product. Dangerous stuff. So I have only heard, I've never seen one, but I've only heard of one other versions of this card. And this is in the old school SGC label. Look at that. Like, you don't see cards like that very much anymore. This is a dual auto Hogan Vince. Just unbelievable. This is what many people consider the Vince rookie card, the 85 OPG. Wrestling would not be what it is without these two. They completely changed the landscape of wrestling, whether you like them or not, whether you like the comments that Hogan likes to say or, what Vince does to people. I understand. I respect your opinion, but there is no wrestling as we know it now without these two. So to find, like, it's a cool card anyway, right? To get it dual auto like that, just amazing. And I've talked to a few people. There's at least one other person that has this exact same card out there somewhere. I've never seen it surface. So this is a prime example of like rare and scarce stuff, and how if you don't see it, it truly is rare and scarce. But like going back to The Rock, they're out there. Like it's a little more rare than you would think, and it's a little bit scarce. But if you can go find them, you can't just go out and find one of these every day. So that's why I like to, kind of focus in on that stuff. So hope you guys enjoyed the showcase. Thanks for comments and questions. If you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat before we do this box break. Need to get a drink. I actually recorded top 5 Sting wrestling cards before I started this live stream. So that's going to be coming out I've got an interview scheduled for next week with a new guest. And then I think it'll be the week after that is when the top 5 Sting. But I actually had a recommendation for that from someone on Twitter. So I get some more. My voice is kind of shot from recording today. But yes, we are breaking a box. I can't believe it. You guys know how I do not rip wax. And so I was at Walmart doing some Christmas shopping. Stopped by. Actually, I got these basketball prism tins. I thought the characters on them was pretty cool. So I bought just for flipping perspective. They had plenty there. It's not like I robbed little Timmy from getting basketball cards. But I bought one of each player. That Luka's on there, Giannis is on there, Joel Embiid's on there, and I was like, these will flip. But then right next to that, Metal Universe Champions. You guys know that I was talking about how much I love Metal Universe products. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this live stream. It'd be fun to kind of rip this. Everybody loves box breaks, right? But what's some, they had one fat pack of WWE Prism. We know the history of that. No other wrestling on the shelf. I don't really go after football, basketball, and baseball. I'll buy a single here and there of something I can connect with from my childhood, or just a cool card, or if there's a superfractor out there, something like that, I may take a look at it. But for the most part, I'm not buying sports cards unless it's just to buy in bulk, resell, buy the wax, resell that. But there's something special about this, and this is one of those things, again, kind of like the All-Stars or PMGs, where the set kind of overrides the names on it. So as we open this, we're going to be looking for Jordans. We're going to be looking for LeBrons. There's Tiger Woods autos in here. Do I expect to get that stuff? No. And if I pull any pink PMGs out of here, those are going in the PC to match the Hogan and the Batista, like this weird build that I've kind of started. The reason I bought this, though, is, of course, it's for entertainment purposes. There are 35 cards in this pack, and I think the blaster was like a little over $30 with tax. So my thought process was, okay, if I rip this and I don't pull a Jordan, a LeBron, there's a Jason Isbell card. If you guys know the country Americana, like whatever you want to call that kind of music, Jason Isbell is awesome. I love his music, and he's got a card in here. And I actually just missed out on the pink PMG that was on eBay of that. So hopefully we can pull that today. But if I don't pull anything in here I like, none of it fits the PC. My thought process was, okay, it's $30 and some change. I can put these in the eBay store for, $1.50, $2, whatever it is, shipped. And I can make at least part of my money back, have some fun opening it, and, do something for the live stream here. That was my thought process. So that's kind of what goes through my mind if I'm ripping wax. If I see some Chronicles, I may get a couple of blasters because I'm actually looking for cross cards. And then if I don't like anything, I can trade them or sell them within the wrestling card community or on my eBay store. That's kind of what goes through my head. I really take the monetary perspective into consideration when I'm ripping boxes, because I'm not going to go out and buy a $700 hobby box when there might not be anything in there that I truly, I'd rather take that $700, go buy like the piece from the 82, 83 All-Stars autos that I need, something like that. But for $35, I figured why not. So let's get started. Any questions, comments, anything you want to talk about, just leave it in the chat. Wouldn't that be cool if we could pull? It's pretty funny. Like, I would actually rather have the Jason Isbell pink PMG in here than I would the LeBron and Jordan, even though I know the LeBron and Jordan are going to be valuable and worth more. I don't particularly collect those. I've got some, but Duke Kaiser in the chat. That's a fun set. Good looking cards. Yeah. I've seen these. I think they're really cool looking cards. Use a knife, not your teeth. Hobby PSA. No, not the grading company. I'm not set up for breaks either, so I'm just going to show you these as I open them. Oh, we got right on the front. I was talking about music cards. Scott Avett from I think it's the Avett Brothers, the kind of bluegrass. Oh, I'm dropping cards. You can tell I don't break. Hang on one second. Dropped one card, but I don't think it's that important. All right. Moving on. We got Sweet Banjo. Scott Avett. Awesome. Byron Laura. I don't know. Like I buy baseball all the time in bulk, and I don't even look at anything. I just look, okay, what's the set? What's the talent? What's the name? I put it in eBay and list it. So I don't know maybe a lot about some of these things. Jaden Springer. And again, for those who don't know, this set has all kinds of stuff in it. This is an F1 driver. Toby Miller. No. Inaugural X Games snowboarder. So we got that. Hey, I know this guy. Trevor Lawrence. Not the biggest fan, but at least I know who it is. And what else do we got here? We got Scotty Lewis, base card. Trey Sermon. Definitely know Trey Sermon. So these are just, I'm telling you, like, I could be wrong, but the AEW Metal universe is going to be huge because the design of these cards is so good. And the fact that you could put that into wrestling cards, it's just amazing. Is this Mauro Ranallo on the front here? No. Adrian Wojnarowski. Oh, we got a PMG, I think. Got that. And sorry if I don't pronounce the names right or if I don't know a lot of these. Hey, we got a Josh Giddey. I know who that is. Number 299, and this is like the speckle. I forgot the exact name of it, but it's kind of a foil board finish for those of you who've seen them in the WWE products. Clark Biswell in the chat. AEW Metal will bring in new collectors, absolutely, and like they are going to be the best AEW cards. I don't care what anybody says. Matt Savoy, I believe is how you pronounce that. Here's one you're going to love. Trey Lance. Oh, yeah. For all those football fans out there, like talk about somebody who's done a whole lot of nothing. But, you know, another interesting thing as I go through these, Trey Lance still has a collector base. And that's what I try to continue to tell people within wrestling cards is go out there. And again, this is a wrestling focused show, but you can take this into anything you want. Find the person, the player, the set, whatever it is. Shut out the noise about the value and it's not a good investment, whatever. Like find the thing and then go after, because you see. Let me put these cards down for a minute so I can rant. So you see, Prism Black 101s, Topps Transcendent Superfractors I was showing off, like all of these Topps Chrome Gold, Prism Gold, all of these big cards that people sought after, right? But you're like, I don't collect Hogan. I don't collect The Rock. I don't collect Roman, but I like the card. Where am I missing out? And that's where you can find the person or the character in the sets that you like and go after them. Maybe you don't want to be a player or super collector. Maybe you're just a like vintage wrestling guy. So maybe you like 80s wrestling and that's your thing. Go out and buy the Prism Golds of, Bruno or of Dusty or whoever it is that you actually like. And you can have a piece of iconic released cards with a talent that you actually like, and you're not just stuck buying whatever the latest flavor is. So Najee Harris for the Steelers, running back, and he tore it up the other night. That was unfortunate. Here's another interesting one. Mac Jones, metalized. Mac Jones has not looked good this year. And then we've got Chef, actually, Bree Baker. Again, these cool card designs. Just gotta love that. So, still no Jason Isbell PMGs. Once again, if you are in the chat and you have a comment or a question, go ahead and throw it in there, and I will get to it as I see it. And thanks for stopping by today. This is just kind of a fun, kind of end of the year thing I thought I would do. Let's see. Normally I do a video on Tuesdays and then do the Worlds Collide podcast video on Thursdays. But today we're doing the live stream today, and then I will have the Wrestling Card Market Watch for November. Speaking of PMGs, we're going to talk a little bit about that Hogan PMG in that one. But that will be Thursday. So thanks for stopping by. Who do we got here? Roberto Campos. I'm guessing that's a prospect. Got another Mac Jones. Again, there's people out there still collecting his stuff. Lexi Thompson, golf. We've got a this is such a cool design. This is just like a base card. Teofimo Lopez, it's boxing, but there's a lot, like, look at the background. You see the rocks in the background. There's a lot of football cards from the 90s that came out in the Metal Universe set, basketball as well. For some reason, the football ones have like cooler artwork in the background, but Kyle Pitts, rookie tight end for the Falcons. Hudson Swafford, I know who that is from only playing daily fantasy golf on DraftKings. And we've got Lopez once again. So we're down to 2 packs. No pink PMGs yet. That's okay. Having fun. If you, for some reason, want to own any of these cards, they'll be on my eBay store after the fact. For whatever I don't keep anyway. Not even going to try to pronounce this guy's name. But there he is. Francisco Molinari, maybe? Danny Willett, more golf. Hey, Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I know her. Oh, this is like a copper color. I don't think she's fighting anymore, but don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. I remember seeing him in DraftKings. Got Lopez again. Don't know who that is. Basketball. Vanessa Hansen. The background on that is they've got different colors, but they're not actually PMGs like with the shades of the color. I don't know. It's weird. So, am I related to? Let me call us out in the chat. Dexflow Toys. Are you related to Alonzo Mourning? I wish. I loved Alonzo Mourning growing up, and it wasn't because we shared the same last name. I remember having the Charlotte Hornets jersey of Alonzo, and because it had the same name on the back, I was like walking through school like I was the coolest person ever. And I wanted to wear it to basketball practice all the time. But Alonzo, Shaq, and Dennis Rodman, those were the guys that and they're all like big men playing in the post or playing in the middle. And they were like dunks and rebounds, and they were the guys that I player collected when I was really into basketball cards when nobody else was. And I had all the jerseys, and I've just always loved those. So no relation, but always was a big Alonzo Mourning fan. We got another Josh Giddey. Gene Montero. Oh, we got LeBron. Cool. Dexflow Toys again. He was one of my favorite players growing up. Big Oos. Yep. This is cool. I really like this card. This is a LeBron. I don't remember what. Again, it's got that space background in it. So really cool card there. Put that one to the side. Zach Wilson, for anybody who's been following any football. Wow, what a guy. Another guy from golf that I can't pronounce. More golf. Molly McGrath. I know I've seen her, but that's the last card. So no pink PMGs. We did pull that LeBron, so that's a really cool card. I may keep it. I don't know, but just a fun rip. I really love this design. So if you can find something in the AEW stuff that's coming out, or if you want to go back and find some 90s basketball or 90s football or baseball that have this really cool design with Metal Universe, like, go check it out. They're very, very affordable, especially if you're buying them raw. Some of the stuff can get really expensive based on the player and the set and all that stuff. So thank you guys for stopping by. Thanks for joining the live stream, joining the chat. I'm going to probably try to do one of these a month or so. And unfortunately, again, due to my schedule, I have to do a lot of these in the afternoons or early afternoons, sometimes mornings. I know that's not the most convenient for people to jump in and join, but I thank you guys for taking your time out of your busy schedule. Again, I was joking about people taking lunch breaks to come join the show. Whatever it is you're watching this on, whatever it is you took time out of your day to check out this live stream, I appreciate it. And if you missed any of it, you can go back. This will be on the replay as of tonight. You can go check it out on the channel. So make sure to check all the links in the show notes to any other ways that you can help show your support for my content. Links to my social medias down there if you want to continue a conversation on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, or you just want to talk about wrestling cards in general. If you have questions, DMs are open. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Give me a like. and spread this channel and the word about not only this channel, not only the Wrestling with Cards podcast, the Worlds Collide podcast, but also just wrestling cards in general. Tell them about Card Foundation. Tell them about the WTC YouTube channel. Like anybody that's talking about wrestling cards, spread the word about wrestling cards and content creation. Again, thank you for your time today. And until next time, focus on that PC, keep collecting and having fun. We'll see you.